costume box? Hello, everyone. Yes, I know. Another Sims video in spite of the fact that I have still yet to return to making Sims content. We have a new expansion pack coming out though, and I thought that I should give my input on it because clearly I am top simmer. So pretty much we did see that the expansion pack pretty much got entirely leaked, which isn't really surprising. I'm kind of thinking that the Sims are doing this on purpose almost, just to make it seem like people want it so badly that they're doing whatever it takes to get information early, and really it's not incredibly difficult from my understanding to get information about the packs beforehand, but that's just my theory. Anyway, so the 16th expansion pack for The Sims 4 is the Lovestruck pack. And when I first caught wind of this, I instantly had some ideas. I fully assumed that there would be like more woohoo activity, which we are going to see there's a touch more. I thought there'd be a couple of different interactions, which we actually haven't had super confirmed. We have some stuff, and I was most interested in the online dating. So let's get into this. So the online dating is going to be called Cupid's Corner. It looks like adults from all ages and teenagers can get on Cupid's Corner, which I do like that they're incorporating teenagers into like a lot of this because I feel very bored with teenagers. I know that we now have the what is that called? The high school expansion, right? The Sims 4 high school years. Yeah, that gave us some more things to do with teens, but I feel like they're still just really restricted because they don't want to make it seem like teens do the things that teens do. So I do appreciate that this pack in specific does offer things to teens that make it a little bit more realistic to, I think, a lot of at least American audiences like teenage years. I also feel like calling it Cupid's Corner was a little bit of a wasted opportunity. I thought it could have been called Simpster or Simder.
You suck!
Okay. That joke might not have hit super well, but it was great to me. So a little bit about Cupid's Corner. It looks like Sims can either be in the world, so you can, be at home scrolling on your phone and decide that you want to swipe right on Travis Scott, or Sims from the gallery can be on Cupid's Corner too, which I think is really, really interesting. It definitely offers a lot in terms of you being able to bring in Sims that have different backstories attached to them, or just have different genetics or styles or what have you. My biggest thing that this makes me question, are their profile pictures going to be photos from the gallery? And if they are, that's great. But what if there is CC or hack content that is not in your game? Because you can look on the gallery and you can see, builds and Sims that are decked out in content that's not in your game, but it's, still available to be viewed that way on the gallery. So can you pull in a Sim? Let's say you don't have eco lifestyle. You pull in a Sim that's decked head to toe in eco lifestyle. Do they just show up for your date like sans clothes? So with Cupid's Corner, it looks like you can do an About Me section. You can take a selfie to put up there. So you don't have to have like what a gallery image would probably look like if you were throwing a sim up into the gallery. You can, have it be a cute, like, which I think adds a little bit of flair. I would really like to see if while you're like going through photos on Cupid's Corner, if that's even a thing, if we can see sort of like generated images of some of our people. Like, can we see Judith Ward doing a duck face? Then it looks like you can also have a trait to display. So just one. So whatever you think like embodies your character in the traits that you put for them is the one that you can exemplify, which I think will make it a little bit easier as we get into a little bit more of like the stuff that they've put in. It looks like you can also set preferences and have favorites. So the preferences I'm assuming are like you can have if you're a teen, I think you can only engage other teens on Cupid's Corner. But then if you're like a young adult but you want to date someone elderly, that's totally a preference that you you can just set But I also know you can do like you can set it to where you only want to see male Sims or you only want to see female Sims or what have you. So general preferences that you can find on actual dating apps. And then the faves are people that, you swipe right on, put a little heart next to, whatever your application of choice is where you can kind of save people and be like, I think I want to check them out later. So then we move on into dating. And it looks like you can choose the kind of date. Now, this is something that I'm totally into because this is very real world. At least in my opinion, it is. So, dates, it seems like are going to be more like events. And they already kind of run like typical events where they have things that like you should do on a date unless you just turn it off entirely. But you can now sort of set up what you want to do. It's sort of similar to how you set up like a wedding or like a group get together. You can have it set to where you want your knitting club to of course knit, but you also want them to have drinks during the night. And so I'm imagining that if it's like a casual date, you can sort of set up mile markers for yourself that'll let you know that the date's good and also when it's come to an end. It might be if it's casual, it might be like, oh, we're just gonna go like grab drinks, we're gonna go dancing. Maybe this is you're looking for just a little bit of fun, so you go woohoo. That's maybe something that you can set as like part of the date that you really want to happen. Not saying that it will happen because there's wooing and stuff that is now going to be incorporated, but you could set that as like a marker for the date, or at least that's what I'm hoping. Based on what I saw, that's what I'm hoping you can do is you can sort of set up all of these preferences for like this is the kind of date that I want to have and these are the mile markers I need to get to. And then if you're like actually wanting to more formally court someone, you can have like a first date where you go for a walk in the park, you flirt a little bit, you want to give them a rose, so you can have maybe specific flirt interactions that you want to do. As opposed to like when you go on the third date, that's when you're like, oh, we're going for a nice dinner, and then hopefully we can change venues, which is something you can do. That is something that they're also allowing in this, which makes it very much more like real life. I've definitely been on several dates where, we either want to go to dinner or we want to go have coffee or whatever, and we want the date to continue. Get your minds out of the gutter, people. If we're getting coffee or something and then we suddenly want to start going for a walk, I've done that. I've had a movie date that turned into a dinner date. And that's actually something that you can now do. You don't have to stay on one specific lot and just wait until you kind of time yourself out after you get bored there. So I think that's really interesting. And obviously, there's the option to take them home. Now, with all of these new interactions and stuff, it gives you a serious chance to up your game. And all of the NPCs are going to make sure that you up your game because Sims can now end dates. If they don't like you, if you're a creep, if you're boring, then a Sim can just say, like, I'm not really feeling this. Don't call me. Which I can't tell you how many like gold level dates I ended in The Sims. And then I would instantly get a text from them that's like, I hated that. Never call me again. We had a gold level date. So yeah, they now, if they're not having fun with you, can just decide that they want to end the date and leave and never call you again. So with that, I would like to see these two go on a date. See how well that turns out. So with also dating, there are a couple of different things that they're adding in, like some items. First is that they have like these little boxes that you can like feed your partner from, which is kind of cute. It's not something that I super enjoy. I don't really like being fed. Germs, hands, not super my thing. I'm also just not a food person. There's also a romantic blanket, which you're allowed to snuggle up and cuddle on or lounge out or whatever. And you can do it anywhere you want. Oh, yes, the Sims finally heard me. I mean, us. Yes, the Sims heard us, and they are speaking my R language now. So I think that will be definitely interesting. There was something in one of the Twitter posts I saw that said that there are like consequences for your actions. I think that's relating to the new death, which I'll talk about in a minute. But I am curious if like you set up a romantic blanket or whatever somewhere, and let's say you do it in the middle of San Myshuno, and then people walk by. Are you going to be embarrassed? Are they going to do that whole like, "Ah." And then the last item that I saw that I was interested in that they added is they're going to have a grown-up costume box. Okay. Curious if we get to pick it or if it's just a random thing, or if you can just make it a random thing. That would be fun. All right, so I did say there was a new death, which is awesome. I love when they add new deaths, which is a weird thing to say, but I feel like they always kind of are, I don't know, just interesting to try and see how hard they are to get, or find out if they're like an annoyingly easy death, then you have to tread very carefully. But so the new death is dying of a broken heart. And I saw that in context to like, you, I guess, like put yourself out there too much and Sims continue to reject you. So, like, you're not choosing the right Sims, then you can die of a broken heart. But I'm also curious if, like, the soulmate aspiration. I've had that many times. I love having my Sims fall deeply, madly in love with each other. The end of a successful marriage is that one of you perishes. So then my sim is always, devastated and mourning and grieving for days, as they should. I'm curious if like you have such a good relationship with like a soulmate level partner and they pass away, is there a chance that if you don't do something about how sad and how grieving you are, you can die of a broken heart? Maybe that's a video? I guess also maybe if you're cheated on a lot, then you could die of a broken heart. Like if you stay with the same partner and they just keep cheating on you, if it doesn't make you angry and it just makes you sad, I think we might have a video once this comes out. Okay, and then now we also have romance dynamics. So this one is interesting because I think it's gonna super open up a ton more like game storytelling things. It's a new adaptable feature that you can input through the create a sim section. So if you already have a partner, you can sort of set what your relationship dynamic is. There's 4 of them. Or it can kind of just grow naturally once you meet a sim or, as you play the game. And I thought it was going to be similar when I initially read it. I thought it was going to be similar to like family dynamics, but just between like you and your partner. So it'd probably be like you're a goofball couple. So not only will like your friendship go up, but like your romance goes up if you guys love laughing together. That's what I thought it was going to be. Apparently not, but I still think that'd be an interesting incorporation. What it actually is you get to pick or sort of develop a relationship around 4 different relationship dynamic types. So the first one is wholesome, which is very in love and they love to show it. So that's kind of what I do for most of mine, I guess, because I love the soulmate aspiration. The next is steamy, so it's one that's very based on like physical interaction. You guys grow together through doing physical things. So obviously like woohoo, but also it probably is things like they want you to hold hands a lot. They probably will get sad or fearful if you don't hug each other enough or if you don't kiss enough. Which is good. I like they're kind of incorporating some like love language there. The next is strained, so a couple that's unhappy. I can only imagine which couple will probably have that right off the bat when the game updates. And then the last one is unpredictable, and it quickly changes with arguing and affection. That one is so interesting to me, and maybe it's because of my own like personal stuff, but that one's interesting to me because there are a lot of relationships where people just kind of change on you on a dime, and it offers up a lot in terms of storytelling. I think it'll also really make you focus a lot on like how your Sims interact when they're in a relationship, because you kind of can get married and then kind of forget about it, or you can get married and just bring the Sim into your family, and then it's like another way of you making money, or like one of your main Sim is off doing something, and then the NPC like which becomes a playable character, but the NPC that you married like kind of takes care of the kids or whatever. All right, and then there's also turn-ons and turn-offs, which is kind of an obvious thing. There's things you do and don't like in people when you're like getting to know them. So there's activities, characteristics, romance, and style. So if you are one of my random genetic Sims, I have come up with some clothing during those challenges that would definitely make dating a touch more challenging for them. I'm curious if I should put them on the gallery now, because I think that would be hilarious to get them. There already are kind of some natural traits that repel from each other. Like if you have a good sim and an evil sim meet each other, the evil sim will be nothing but bored with the good sim. That's already in the game. That's, just straight up, they get negative moodlets because they're around a good person. And then, same thing, the good person will be like terrified or on edge or just uncomfortable by being around someone that's evil. So I think we're gonna see more traits that like can complement and repel one another, specifically in terms of dating now. And speaking of traits, we get two new traits with this. They really did put a lot into this. I'm kind of surprised. Like there's also a whole new world. I'm not gonna touch on that in this video. But like we're getting a world. It's like a full expansion. But so the traits there is love bug, which is someone enthusiastic about finding love, or romantically reserved, which is someone who's more reserved about opening up their heart. We also get a new skill, the romance skill. And as you kind of build that, you get better just kind of naturally at wooing and maintaining relationships, which I'm super glad that we get a new skill. But I cannot be the only one who expected, nay, demanded, that they have a woohoo skill. There is a mod. I know Dorian's currently using it right now for his Ultimate Decades challenge. By the way, go check out his Ultimate Decades challenge. It's very entertaining. But there's a mod that he's using that gives you a woohoo skill. And let's be real, we can't all be me. Typically, when you start out, you suck at the woohoo. And that's how Sims are. When they start, they suck. And it makes relationships very strained. But the more you do it, the more you learn. You learn how much eye contact is too much eye contact, how to unhook and untie in like a sensual way, where to put your elbows. But okay, romance me, Sims. I'm all about this skill too. That's fine. It's equally something that needs to be learned. Nobody is perfect out of the gate with romance, and I like that they're being real about that. You do also end up getting little quirks and bonuses as you elevate the skill, and at the end, when you get to level 10, you give off an aura of romance, which I think just makes everybody flirty. I do know that there is like a skill point trait that you can get. I think it's called beguiling. That's right. I remember that because it's in isn't it romantic? Beguiling.
Wow, you're quite beguiling, aren't you? I love this beguiling woman. You are beguiling.
You can get that in the skill point store, and you can just make anybody around you feel romantic. And so I like that they're kind of incorporating that. I imagine we'll probably see some more of the skill point traits come out through expansions and stuff, because I don't think a lot of people even play with like quirks on, or whims, not quirks, whims. I don't think a lot of people play with whims on. So I don't think a lot of people know that like you can buy traits that make your sim like a super sim. And then we also have aspirations. Yes, we have two aspirations. We have Romantic Explorer and Paragon Partner. I feel like I already love these just based off the titles, because I feel like I've really similar aspirations to both of them just off of the titles, not even what they're really about. I feel like I'm mostly a great partner, and I strive to make my relationship the best that it can be. But I also feel like exploring romance is a way that you do that. Like, I might think that my love language is gift giving, but I might find out that I have a heavy love language in physical touch. You have to explore that to sort of figure that out. Um, I might think that like I hate heights just as like a general thing, but I might find that I love seeing like beautiful up top views with my partner. So, gotta explore things to figure out what you do and don't like in a multitude of ways. But that's for real life. In this, romantic explorers take a broad view of romance and like to explore it. They enjoy dating, but also show day to day love. Oh, see, I love that. I always want to show my partner and I mean even like my friends, uh, whenever opportunity strikes that I love them. Which, by the way, here's like a list of my friends. You should go follow them over on YouTube or on Twitch or wherever, because they're all a great time, and I love them. The Paragon partner is focused on specific goals and can expand to more than one partner. Ooh, okay. So this is something I was kind of curious. I know that The Sims has a lot of issues with like certain legalities in other countries and having to be blocked and having to have higher ratings and blah blah blah. But I'm curious if they are going to allow thruples in the game now. Thruples are like more polyamory just in general. Like, can I do a sister wives series without mods? That also something we would all be interested in seeing, maybe? Let me know in the comments. And last but certainly not least, this is something that Dorian was really wanting in this, and that he was very happy to find that it is in here. There is a new career. Yes, which is, there's like good news and bad news with this. The good news is, yes, new career. A romance consultant. Finally, I can be the Yenta that I was born to be. You can now matchmake, and my first course of action is to take these two apart. Perfect. And then I also want to bring these two together. If any of you out there thought that Travis needed to end up with Liberty Lee instead of Summer Holiday, you can leave. The bad news about this is that it is a rabbit hole career. So we don't actually get to like go around town or have like an office or something where Sims will come into us and we can either like marriage counsel them or they'll come in single and then we'll have like, oh yeah, Liberty Lee is single now. Who do I want to put her with? Do I want to put her with Vlad, Bob, or Caleb? Which that would have been fun and interesting, but I'm sure that there will be pop-ups that are part of the career. In most of the careers, you do get pop-ups that sort of require you to make one choice or the other that can boost your standing at work or lower it or make you famous or, you know, get you fired. And so I'm sure we'll see some of those where it just asks like, you have a client coming in about this. What should they do? You have a client with this trait. Should they have another person with this trait or this trait? Or it might straight up be like, here's a dossier of this sim, and then give you like 2 or 3 options, like I was just saying, of like, who do you think they should go out with? Which I'm gonna love to see, like a single sim coming in or like a married sim coming in and all of their options being other married people. That will be very funny. And I know, or I hope that if in fact they do have those little pop-ups, they slip a Mulan joke just somewhere in there.
You must demonstrate a sense of dignity.
Oh, I did forget about this. So the career was not the last of it. There's also a new lot trait. The one lot trait that I think it was only one, the one that I could find, is one that attracts singles to your lots. So, like, you could have a singles bar or a singles cafe or a library where single people frequent. So you can have sort of like more storytelling through that if you want, like, your incredibly bookish sim to find love in a library, then you can do that or whatever. I can already see off into the future the myriad of gallery entries of, you know, singles hangouts where, you know, singles can come to mingle. It probably has like a bar or, you know, a couple of tables or whatever. And then it's just like beds, 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 beds everywhere.
Since people often go to bars to try to get someone into bed, it was only a matter of time till someone cut out the middleman and put the beds in bars.
So that's what we know so far, at least what I know so far. I'm sure there are a couple other people who have covered this that might have maybe more of an inside scoop than I do. But what I wanted to talk about, and why this video is not ending yet, is that there is one thing that I don't think that they're adding that I wanted the second that I found out that this pack is going to be about love. When I found out there was going to be online dating, my brain instantly went, a catfish. I think part of it's because Dorian and I have really been getting into The Circle lately, which if you haven't watched that on Netflix, check it out. It's amazing. Yes, I wanted there to be a Simder instead of Cupid's Corner, where you have the option to make a real profile or a catfish profile. I understand they probably can't really do that. Like I said, they already have issues with legality sometimes. And I'm sure they don't want to seem like they're promoting people catfishing or blackmailing or whatever, anything that comes with that. Breaking people's hearts, being kind of cruel about it, because there are like I've watched catfish episodes and then also like watching The Circle and stuff. Like people do get really hurt when that happens, and it is unfortunate. But this is not real life. This is a video game where I like drama. So I was really hoping that would be a part of it, and I'm kind of still hoping that it is. And if it's not, and any modders end up watching this, please alter Cupid's Corner. That way we can have catfish profiles. Could you imagine? I could already see that glitching so hard. And like you catfishing as Daryl. No, I always forget his name. Mr. Charm. And then you getting like a like by Mr. Charm. Oh, that would be so great. It would glitch so hard. It would be terrible in the best way possible. So yeah, if anybody could get to work on that, that would be great. But with that, if you made it this far in the video, go ahead and leave a like. Comment below if there was anything from this pack that you haven't seen yet in all of the many leaks that you really wanted from a love pack. I know I've seen a ton of people talk about the bed, like the heart-shaped bed. We did get like the headboard to it a few packs ago, or like a few kits ago. But people are upset that we still don't have like the heart bed. Subscribe if you're new to the channel, or if you're not new and just haven't subscribed yet. Also, let me know if there are Sims ideas or more Sims content that you guys want to see from me. I am thinking about bringing back at least like weekly Sim videos coming in the new year. I know we're only in like June, but I do have sort of a list of things that I'm trying to get done for the rest of this year. And who knows, if a lot of people want more Sims content, I might filter in some ideas. I have some ideas for series and stuff that I would be willing to do right now. I just want to see if there's interest. But with that, I will see you guys next time. Bye!